Hi guys, and welcome to our spoiler review of Alone by Scott Sigler.
We killed another trilogy.
Doesn't happen too often.
No, it doesn't.
It was super exciting because we've loved this trilogy from book one. First few pages, we were like, oh my god, this is
What is
amazing.
happening?
And it's been a long journey to the end of this book, but we've loved every second of the twists and turns because it's very rare that we find books these days that actually like surprise us with twists. So
yeah, we went from like Lord of the Flies in space to Pocahontas in space to, I guess this is the most original concept out of all of them.
God is evil and
we must murder him.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god. Okay. AZTECS in space, round 3. Let's do this.
First things first, we kind of pick up a year after we left off where the birthday children have been going through some shit. They are still allies with Barca's tribe of Springers and, you know, they're trying to like culturally integrate and it's kind of working, but there's kind of been more and more rising tensions between the Springers and the birthday children, and then the other Springer tribes have been actually violently attacking them.
There's like a rebel group too called the Belligerents who've been
acting out.
Yeah.
And also another problem that they've been facing is the birthday children have actually been more and more violent with each other. People just kind of go through like manic episodes where they get angry and then they can't stop getting more and more angry with each other, and nobody's killed each other yet.
But it's coming.
On top of that, there are the 3 spaceships that are on their way to the planet, and they're just like, fuck, we pretty much have no way of defending against them. We barely have like weapons to fight them off. I don't know what we're gonna do. So Em is kind of like settled into her leadership role. You know, she mourns that O'Malley has died, but you know, she's enjoying her relationship with Bishop. She doesn't know what she wants in the future, but she knows she loves him. Spingate and Gaston have their kid.
Kevin.
And you know, they're being all cute and being all boss as well. And a bunch of things kind of happen. I'm not sure what the order is.
Everyone is super tense with the alien ships coming in, so the main focus is we have to find a way to deal with them because, you know, if they come in, it doesn't matter that we have this little tribal war going on with all these other groups because they're gonna come in, they're gonna destroy us because they can just shoot us down from space, most likely. One of the turning points for that is they realized that the telescope in the observatory actually is a gigantic gun and it shoots nukes.
And they have like, they only have a couple. They have like, I don't know.
I think they have four or 5.
They don't have a lot. Also, there's tower defenses that they can activate. They also get a message from the Zoitil, which is still up in space floating around. And they get contact from a group that is not associated with Matilda. And their leader is Marcus, who is a descendant of Matilda. They also have apparently made friends with some grown-ups who aren't trying to kill them, and one of them is Victor. And Victor is kind of like a new character who's kind of popped up, and he's obviously got a really big crush on Em, and he's kind of like fighting Bishop about it, and yeah, so there's grown-up Victor and there's birthday child Victor. So what happens is finally the spaceships get close to each other. 2 of them kind of arrive at once. Basically they start fighting each other.
Yeah, because the first ship that arrived, they do their first nuke test and they take it out. The next 2 ships arrive at the same time and they start fighting each other, and the one ship, they've given them nicknames. I think the Dragon is the one boards Goblin and takes it out, and then they park the Dragon behind the Goblin, so when the birthday children are like, okay, they're gonna attack us now, they nuke the Goblin, and the Dragon is totally fine because now it'll take them like 8 minutes to reload their gun for the gun to cool down, and that's when the Dragon launches their first attack.
And it like, you know, completely like decimates the city, you know, lots of things are on fire, people die. There's a lot we could kind of go through with back and forth, and it's just easier to like
dump it. After the attack, it's a really kind of intense moment between the Springers and the birthday children because the Springers come in and Emma's like, oh my god, they're gonna take advantage, this is it, because we're totally ruined. If they attack us now, we're doomed. But Barca's like, no, we're here to help you, and so that kind of like joins them a bit more. Like,
they have a solid relationship, yeah, basically, the whole thing. Yeah. They learn a couple things, okay. So basically, they're one species that they really have to overcome. They call them the wasps, and they're like, they've got like 6 legs or something, and they're like, got like a segmented bodies. And so they eventually like land on Earth, and they have to like fight off contingencies of them. And the big kind of fight that they get into is eventually like the wasps just coming en masse, and they have to hold them off. for a long, long time. They realize that a Myocan is just not going to be a viable place for them to live, and that is the big fucking reveal.
Okay. So, at the beginning of the book, there's one character who Em is really proud of, who is also like an empty circle, who wants to become an archaeologist. He's basically digging around, he's trying to figure out the history of this planet because there was a civilization that the Springers took over that is under the city that the humans have built on top of the Springer city on top of this other city. And so he starts digging around, and there's this well shaft that they call the well, and he goes into it, he looks around, he's like, nope, never again, I'm out. It's terrifying down there. I don't like it. And so he starts digging somewhere else. So Em realizes during the first wasp attack that the wasps aren't bombing the observatory for some reason. And so she goes down with the archaeologist character to be like, what is down there? Because he said, I went down there and I heard my mother. And she's like, ha, you're so weak. Why am I thinking he's so weak?
Yeah.
Just like tensions are high, anger is taking over. So she goes down with this guy and she sees her father. And he's like, I'm not actually your father. I am like a...
I'm an astral projection.
Yes. This is my child. And it's
huge giant maggot.
Maggot, just this big gross maggot thing. And he's like, so this is the deal. What we do is I came here, I laid my eggs, there are 3 of them, this is my first child. He's been broadcasting this kind of like call, and then like different races, intelligent races come here, and then they fight it, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight, and then the strongest one, the one left standing, will merge with my child, and you'll have a symbiotic relationship, and you'll explore the stars together.
Until the cycle starts again.
Yes, until the cycle starts again. And Em's just like...
Not okay. Not okay with this at all.
So yeah, the God of Blood is real. It's a maggot. It's horrifying. It's been like psychically kind of like infecting them in a way to like make them more violent to
so that they do get out and find the strongest race. Also, the God of Blood is the reason that they are there. Like, it has sent its psychic link out across the stars along with, like, you know, plans for the ships. So all of these spaceships that are coming in, including the Zoyotau, all look the same. I mean, there are little variances where people have like used the technology and come up with other things like extra guns and everything like that, but they mostly work the same. So that is where they got the plans for this giant world building thing, and it turns out the children are like, have been like sent from like a war-torn world to come and live on this world. They think it's gonna be peaceful.
They think it's heaven, and during the broadcast it's kind of just like, you have to sacrifice for great rewards.
Em like comes out of that and she's like, nope, that's it, we are fucking out of here. Even if we freaking manage to kill maggot number 1, there's 2 more under there. There's nothing we can do. Like, I'm sorry, like, we gotta go back up to the Zoyotau, which is falling apart, and find somewhere else because
whatever is up there is not as bad as what is waiting for us down here.
Yeah, and it's like a really hard decision to make. Like, you even feel, you're like, oh my god, like, they fought so hard for this, and now they have to turn around and go back. And it's not even like it's easy to turn around and just go back up in space. It is fucking hard. So, cue this giant fucking battle with the wasp where the people are dying and, you know, just shit is going wrong, and they manage to get into the spaceship, go back up to the Zoyotau and meet with the new people.
But the problem is they can't escape. They can't move the ship because Matilda still controls the ship. And so the only way that they're going to get the ability to move the ship is if Em lets Matilda erase her. And Emma's just like, this is the only way it's gonna work. She'd rather watch the world burn than like be trapped as a grown-up for forever. So you know what? It's me versus the thousands upon thousands of people on this ship. And so she goes willingly.
Which kind of pissed me off because, you know, she goes willingly and, you know, old Gaston is there to, like, make sure the transaction goes smoothly, and he makes sure that Matilda gives up the codes to the spaceship so that they can do shit afterwards. And then Em's like, you can let me out now. And he's like, no, I'm holding you to this deal. I'm like, fuck you, buddy. You don't even really like her anymore. Can you just, like, fucking not? But no, that's not what happens.
So, as we found out in the second book, the leading process isn't perfect because your consciousness is not moved into your new body. It's copied. So you're still trapped in your grown-up body.
And then they just kill you because
why?
Fun.
Then on top of that, they discussed how the overrating process, the longer the person, the child kind of pilots the body and has their own experiences and builds their own memories, the harder it will be to delete them, because now you're not just like this blank canvas to be written on. And so because M has gone through so much and she's done all these things and she's built all these memories, when Matilda tries to overwrite her, it's not an overwriting process, it's kind of a fusion, which made me think of Ghost in the Shell. And I'm just like, I see what you did there. The two people are no longer two people, they've become a completely new person, and instead of being M or Matilda, she refers to herself as Maddie.
And on the one hand, I'm like, it's a bittersweet end. But on the other hand, I'm like, Emma's dead and I was really attached to her. Emma's dead and I don't like you because you're not Em. Like, it became like a very hard thing to accept for me. And of course, like, Maddie's just like, I'm the only one. I am both old and young.
I am a hybrid.
And she just kind of goes on and on about it. You're like, I don't like you. Can you stop talking now?
They take out the Wasps. They manage to get a nuke into the Wasps ship, and they're all gonna die. The landing party are all gonna die, and Aramovsky!
Good old buddy, old pal.
I must redeem myself because I'm no longer under the influence of the god of blood, and my religion was false and it was awful, and oh my god, what am I gonna do? So here, have my fighter pilot, I'll stay with the bomb, you kids get out of here, goodbye. Basically.
And I mean, for us looking back on like Aramovsky, we said some shit.
It would be really interesting to go back and now read the book and be like, you're being manipulated.
And like, in our last like spoilerless review, you can look back and we're like, what kind of fucking psychopath just is like, God of blood, let's worship him. Turns out he was right.
He was.
But yeah, so Aramovsky actually has like a part in this book, and you don't hate him anymore because you realize that it wasn't exactly him that was.
And to compare to that, Spingate gives in to the rage and gives in to the darkness and kills adult Bello. And, like, Spingate has been, like, the kind-hearted, like, good character. And so, like, if this is what happens to her, of course the guy with kind of a little bit of an ego problem would go right all the way.
Yeah. It kind of, like, makes you realize how close they all are to just, like, absolutely decimating
like, everyone
each other.
goes down, like, because the guy Victor is kind of into M, and they're doing a training exercise, and he hits M, and Bishop is just like, not my woman, and, like, jumps on him, and then someone tries to, like, punch Bishop to pull Bishop off, and M's like, not my man! It's just a mess.
It really, really is.
Oh, God. Do we want to talk about Matilda's past?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is you learn a little bit more about Matilda, and basically the world is, as we know, is fucked. There's like a church that like controls everything. Her grandfather was one of the higher up people in the church, and he ends up molesting her. And her parents are like, there's literally nothing we can do about it because he's so high up in the church. They're just gonna like cover this up or like take her away.
He's signed her up to go to a convent, and what happens there, horrible things happen there. We can't let her go there.
So they take her to the church of this crazy cult, which turns out to be the initiative that sends the birthday children into space. And because of the age that Matilda was, when they bring her there, she can't be one of like the higher up, so she just ends up as an empty. And that's why she's like so clever and smart, but they've never actually like used her resources. And so you get to see Aramovsky as a younger person, you get to see Kevin as a younger person, you get to see Spingate as a younger person, and just kind of like how the relationship played out. And you can kind of compare it to like how the differences and how the young blank kids
how culture kind of affects your friendships, because in the past version of everyone, they're forced into this hierarchy where Matilda is a lower class than them. You know how kids are?
Yeah.
Kids are awful. And so when everybody wakes up, the birthday children wake up and there's none of that. They just kind of like form natural relationships based off of like themselves as people versus what they're being told.
Class or anything like that. So that was really, really interesting. And you know, you find out a little bit about the rebellion where Matilda's like, no, this is kind of fucked up, but she's also kind of got like that greed, because she's always been treated as like a lower class person, you know.
She craves power.
She craves power, and so that's kind of fucked up her more pleasant ambitions about like the new people actually becoming getting new bodies and that kind of stuff. Like she started that, but it kind of devolved into rebellions and stuff over time. So that was really, really interesting. But anyways, so the one thing we had the most problem with in this book was this like weird little romance plot that gets thrown in right at the end, because Maddie's just like, I am the only one. I must write our history, and I am the only one who's both old and new, and you're like, oh, fuck, okay.
She ends her relationship with Bishop because she's like, you are just a child and I am over 1,200 years old. And I'm like, okay, I get that you're not the same person you were, fine, but can we just stop with the melodrama?
Yeah.
And I'm really feeling for Bishop, because Bishop's like, you have to look exactly like her, like this isn't fair, like go find someone who'll make you'll make something. And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, just tone it down a little bit. You're here? Just
a little bit down.
Yeah, I'm right here. She spends like a couple years like writing her memoir. She just avoids people all the time. She can really only stand children, like little children. And so finally one day she's like finished her book and her life's work is complete. She's like, what do I do now? And then in walks Victor looking all hot, and she's like, oh, I didn't really want to talk to you. And he's like, I am both old and new Victor.
Oh my god.
I am perfect for you. We both loved you and now we can be together. Like,
okay, on one hand, cool. It's nice that there's someone who she can talk to who understands what she's going through, and it shows the change in society, because when Victor merged with Victor, he didn't murder old Victor, and he has dinner with old Victor, and they started a book club together. So it's like progression. It's nice. It was both of their decisions to do this. But at the same time, don't lead with the romance.
yeah.
Maybe just be like, hey,
who knows what's gonna happen?
I know what you're going through. I'm kind of dealing, like, you want to get a coffee and talk about it? Not like, I've loved you and all of my lives, be with me now. Tone it back.
I get that you're excited. Take it down. You're here. Come down.
I got what he was going for, but
it was just a little too perfect.
Just a little too perfect.
But like, we're being nitpicky.
Yeah.
Like, the whole series was just great. Like, I loved it. I would recommend it to people. I would recommend it to like sci-fi fans, hands down. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Like, read it. If you haven't, please do. They're great.
Like, we can't do justice to the action in this book either, because there's just like, there's so many like little twists and stuff and little problems that they have to deal with that we kind of just have to like broad stroke it.
Yeah.
But there was so much there that we're just like, I can't talk about this really, and just tension and action and characters, and you just love it, every bit of it. So yeah, read it, it's great, and we're so glad that we accidentally picked up the series 3 years ago. Alright, so that's everything, and we'll see you next time, guys.